Good afternoon, everybody. Before we begin, I would like to remind you that this event is going to be live streamed and also recorded. So, welcome all to our university, the University of Nicosia. On behalf of the university, the Digital Innovation Department, and the Institute of the Future, I would like to welcome you all here. Actually, I should say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, since we have also our online people. I will say that this event is co-organized with XEROF, which is a crypto gateway based in Switzerland. And it's a pleasure to have with us today also as a keynote speaker, the co-founder and CEO of XEROF, Mark Taverner. And also along with me today, we have Christiana Aristidou, one of the top layers in Cyprus on cryptocurrencies, my colleague, and also another top lawyer in Cyprus on cryptocurrencies, Haris Savidis, and Kyriakos Karalambous from Dominica. So I would like to welcome you all. I will, well, I guess I forgot to introduce myself first. Let's see, this is moving. Valentino, this is not moving. All right, okay. So I'm Professor Sula Luga. I'm the head of the Digital Innovation Department and one also of the directors for the Institute for the Future. I will briefly present to you what we have been doing the past years in the area of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, since we were the first university in the world to actually offer an academic degree in the area. And we are considered to be one of the top universities in these topics. And also briefly go over what you should be expecting to see from us in the near future. All right. But one might actually ask, why blockchain and cryptocurrencies? The area of cryptos and blockchain technology in general, it has been a big part of our lives since 2013. We consider blockchain to be one of the top technologies of the last decades, as it increases trust, security, transparency, and traceability, delivering cost savings and new efficiencies. Moreover, as we see, it has applications in several sectors, in supply chains, in finance, healthcare, retail, and of course, in real estate, which is what we're going to be talking about today. In addition to this, blockchain is also one of the key technologies for the metaverse, what some might also call the new internet, but it slowly started to emerge, and we're expected to see a lot more applications in metaverse in the near future, where basically we have the physical and the digital worlds merging together. All right. A little bit on our evolution and history. We started our journey back in 2013, when we were the first university in the world to accept Bitcoins for the tuition fees for the students. Soon afterwards, actually at the time we all made the news, the Forbes all over the world, Forbes and lots of different other worldwide forums that we actually accepted Bitcoins at the university. Soon afterwards, the following year, we launched an academic course, a free MOOC that was offered to everybody. It's still being offered until today, twice a year. And so far, more than 100,000 people have taken this all over the world. Within the same year, we worked on an application on issuing blockchain-based certificates. We continued, we launched also our first, our academic degree, the master's degree in blockchains and digital currencies. And we had our first master graduate students. The following years, we continued with research and building collaborations with the ecosystem and other universities around the world, and issuing also continuing with our spin-offs in NFT valuations and the self-verifiable certificates. And back in 2020, we launched the Digital Innovation Department to actually focus on transformative technologies. And as a consequence, of that, and since it followed sort of a natural way of evolution, we started to work on metaverse. And we have our Open Metaverse initiative. Last semester, we had another free course on NFTs and metaverse. That was actually, we actually had more than 22,000 participants in that. And of course, several other initiatives in this Open Metaverse initiative that we have. We have been active, as I said, in research with the Magridakis Open Forecasting Center, the Distributed Ledgers Center, the NFT evaluations, and lots of projects from the ecosystem and the European Union. Lots of collaborations with more than 50 institutions from all over the world, and of course our service to society, which includes our educational part, advisory. We're advisors to the European Central Bank, to the EU Sandbox, the House of the Parliament, and active with various events, conferences, and competitions, and also in terms of community offering. We have our chapters, which right now we have more than 40 chapters around the world, where basically we're trying to get the community together, organize all these, what we refer to as the blockchain enthusiasts. And I will just briefly skip this since I think I'm running out of time. And our people, collaborations, of course, also with the links with the metaverse community, our full-time faculty, visiting and administrative visiting faculty, other unique faculty that we are collaborating, and with world-class experts. So that's it from me. Enjoy the event, and I would like to ask to join me, Mark Tavernan. Mark.
Thanks, Sula.
Thank you, Sula.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to tell you a sad story to start with. It's a story of $28 million. 2014, I was working with one of the world's largest Bitcoin mining companies. The price of Bitcoin was about $120, and I had a decision to make. Did I take the fee that I was getting as a consultant from this mining company in Bitcoin, or did I take it in fiat, US dollars? I made the wrong decision, and today as I stand here, the price of that decision to me can be counted with today's current price of Bitcoin at $28 million. So education, which I didn't have then, is really important. And I promised myself that I would learn as much about this market as I could, so I didn't make the same mistake again. To my mind, education is the most important thing about new technologies. And it's no coincidence that we're here today with the University of Nicosia, who are, in my opinion, the leading global lights in trying to spread education about blockchain technologies, about cryptocurrencies, and about something that is now called Web3, which I don't know too much about because I'm not sure that too many people even know how the internet properly works yet, let alone Web3 on top of it. My background, as I mentioned, is 2014, started working with a company called Bitfury, the world's biggest Bitcoin miner. I did that until the European Commission asked me to found a trade association called INATBA to represent the blockchain industry and negotiate all of the regulatory frameworks that came out of the European Commission the European Parliament just recently. And I got a little bit bored of doing not-for-profit because it's very hard work. It's a lot of work and it's not very profitable. So with a couple of colleagues, we founded XEROF. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what XEROF is. But firstly, let me tell you the reason we founded XEROF. We are all crypto dinosaurs, the founders of XEROF, as you can probably tell. You know, I'm not 18 years old anymore. And we came together to try and solve a problem that we had ourselves. The problem we had was we had a reasonable amount of crypto, not huge amounts. I'm not CZ from Binance. I'm not one of the founders of Coinbase, but enough for it to warrant gaining some education about how we could use crypto in a compliant, frictionless way to buy property. We couldn't find a way of doing it with any party that we could trust. So we set about building a suite of processes ourselves in relationships with banks and tried to find the most compliant way of using our crypto to buy property. We did that very successfully on 2 properties. And then our friends came to us and said, that seemed to work really well for you guys. Would you do it for us too? And we kind of went, yeah, but it takes some time. So we did a couple of transactions for our friends, and then their friends started to come, and suddenly we realized we have a business. So now what we do is XEROF, and for those of you that either might be dyslexic or might be very highly intelligent, it's Forex, backwards. We based ourselves in Switzerland, which is the only place where there's a regulatory license that currently exists that you can operate to. And we started building this business. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what we've built and why we do it. If I can get this to advance. Yes, there we go. So we are a business overseen and licensed by FINMA, which is the Swiss Financial Services Authorities. Therefore, we have a license which ensures that the transactions that we run are compliant. They work according to the law, and they'll stand the test of scrutiny. But just because we're based in Switzerland doesn't mean that we don't service clients from around the world. We do. The only exceptions are where there might be sanctions or where we might have issues with certain regulatory developments, for example, with what's happening in the US at the moment, if anyone is following that. We're a little cautious about dealing with US citizens. We provide a broad suite of services, but what I want to talk about today specifically are the services for real estate. So it is true that as well as supporting high-value transactions for real estate, for things like collectible jewelry, collectible cars, we also run what we call an OTC, an over-the-counter desk, which is where we allow family offices, institutions, or very wealthy individuals who want to buy into crypto to come to us and to buy, for example, Bitcoin that has been just mined and therefore has no bad history with it, and also comes from renewable energy sources. So that's the on-ramp piece of the OTC desk. The off-ramp is where we have very wealthy crypto individuals who want to get fiat, US dollars or euros, because they need that money for, I don't know, buying a property or funding a business. We also provide merchant services to allow companies to accept payments in crypto. And we give advice and institutional services to very large institutions around the world. But the main topic of today's session that I want to share with you, just for a few more minutes briefly, is around what we've built to satisfy the purchase of real estate. This goes back to the very reason why we set up XEROF. We wanted to use our crypto directly to buy property. And all we heard everywhere was, no, you can't do it. No, you can't do it. We don't know how to do it. You'll never be able to do it. So we built this service, and really simply, all we do is we exchange crypto into euros, for example. We send those euros to a third-party bank account, so the account of a notary or a solicitor or a property developer, to satisfy the purchase of an asset, of a house or a piece of land under contract. So the contract is agreed in euros, as every contract is between the buyer and seller. And once that agreement is reached, we go to the buyer who has the crypto. We tell them how much crypto they need to give us. We run the exchange. And in usually about 2 days, we settle into euros in this example, or fiat currency, for those of you who don't know what fiat currency is, a third-party bank account, and it's no more complicated than that. So we've addressed what we saw as a big friction in the market, where individuals, and some of you might be those individuals, or you might know individuals like this, have crypto and they want to buy property. But many people are saying, no, we can't take crypto. And the crypto holders sitting there thinking, I can't change it into euros easily. So it looks like we can't trade. It's not rocket science. I would love to stand here and tell you that we've built an algorithm that's going to solve the world's problem with a piece of great technology that's going to make everybody rich. It's nothing like that. It's a really simple business process under a license in Switzerland that allows real estate professionals to access the crypto market and crypto holders to use their crypto to buy a property. And we sit in the middle and do the exchange. Super simple stuff, but addressing a very big market friction. So that's who we are. That's what we do. And we're going to have a little discussion in a little while after Christiana has spoken about various topics that come up in the market, such as, is it legal? Why are there so many Ponzi schemes and illegal actors in crypto? What is the legal situation in Cyprus? But first, I just want to draw attention to the real importance of partners and partnerships. We're here today because I'm fortunate enough to have built a great working relationship with the university through the work I did with INATPA, the trade association. And we've built great partnerships with, I see some friends and faces in the room here today, but in particular with Christiana, who showed the first early faith in the service we have. And Ebokia, who's sitting here, is a powerhouse of the future, so people watch out for this lady. She is going to be telling us all what to do in just a few years' time. But the power of partnerships, the value of partnerships in this market is really important. And I'll leave you with just a reminder that the entire crypto ecosystem is built on open source principles, which is everything is there for everybody to use. There's very little IP protection on software and the code that powers this industry. And the concept is everybody comes together to bring their expertise, get value for their expertise, but collaborate in an open way. So with that spirit of collaboration, I'd like to invite Christiana to come and address you.
Thank you, Mark.
Who is one of our most trusted partners and oldest partners here in Cyprus.
Well done, Mark. Thank you very much. Do you mind if I do it from here? Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Before I move on to discuss the crypto opportunity in Cyprus real estate from a legal perspective and real estate perspective, I want to thank the organizers, XEROF and the University of Nicosia, for the invitation to speak at this very interesting event. So for those who don't know me, I'm Christiana, and I have been working in law, business, and technology for many years, like 25. In fact, more than half of which I have been closely following the developments in the crypto space, crypto asset sector. So are there opportunities in the Cyprus real estate industry? Yes, incredible crypto opportunities, which call for new ways of thinking about growth, and reach to new investors, new investor bases, if approached with a compliance first mindset. I have been telling you this for months. So I do not want to dwell into the importance and size of real estate. You all know. You're here because you do know. So real estate in Cyprus is, I want to focus, though, on the opportunity of crypto and blockchain-based transactions. Cryptocurrencies have been around for over a decade now. Crypto-based transactions are a proven way of moving value around in a fast and trusted way. The crypto market has moved past the testing stage, let's say, the testing stage of, and has matured into, I would say, a sizable industry. So based on available evidence that we've got from exchanges and trading platforms, protocols, blockchain protocols, there is a significant number of crypto users actively trading, investing, and using cryptocurrencies to settle transactions. And regardless of potential fluctuations that you currently see in their value and trading, crypto assets offer enormous opportunities for fast, transparent, and secure execution of transactions and recording data, thanks to the underlying technology, as you know, blockchains, the DLT technology, distributed ledger technology. So indeed, the EU aims to create a nexus of laws that will regulate DLT-based assets of various types by passing numerous directives, regulations, to that end, laws. Therefore, the crypto opportunity is not a distant prospect, but a very real. Currently, it is a very real and very current chance for many industries to expand, including the real estate industry. So it is within this context and framework that I'm here today at the always innovative University of Nicosia and forward-thinking University of Nicosia to talk about how crypto can alter the real estate industry in Cyprus. I will focus on two main opportunities, although there are many. So I will only refer to two today. So one is the purchase of real estate using cryptocurrencies, as Mark said. And the second one I will be talking about is the tokenization of property, or not just property, but sometimes property-related rights or interests. So with the tokens being purchased with either crypto or fiat, depending on the buyer's choice, of course. So, as I explained, we currently have a significant number of users. They come to us, they ask us, including early crypto enthusiasts, investors, traders, and other retail owners holding cryptocurrencies in their wallets, often a great value, who wish to bring these cryptocurrencies to the real world, so to speak. So since these currencies have value, they want to spend them. They want to spend them on real life assets like real estate or any other luxury items anyways. So these crypto owners, therefore, want to use the cryptocurrencies to buy real estate property. A great number of them are high net worth individuals seeking to spend their cryptos on tangible property. So this creates a new and sizable stream of real estate clients, isn't it? So hence the opportunity, this new opportunity, which you developers and realtors can benefit from. So with a reputable network of real estate professionals, and I see a few really professionals here now, really who are really deep into real estate, and I know some, I see some faces here. So Cyprus, with such professionals, may attract such crypto owners interested in owning property. So this opportunity of selling real estate to crypto owners does not come without challenges, of course. So one of the main objectives of developers is to receive the purchase price in fiat, as Mark said before. So what is a fiat money? Is any money which is recognized by a central bank of a state. So fiat money, regardless of whether the buyer pays in cryptocurrencies. So this is what the sellers want. They want to get that in fiat in their bank account. So this means that a provider must successfully convert this amount, these cryptocurrencies, to fiat money in a way that allows the transfer of the converted fiat money to a traditional bank account. So based on our experience, and because of the so many crypto users and crypto owners, cryptocurrencies holders, we saw that the possibility of placing crypto-derived income within traditional bank accounts is directly connected to the compliance of the provider of the crypto to fiat exchange service that you use. So with all applicable laws, they must comply with all applicable laws, all applicable regulations, and even several technical standards relating to anti-money laundering, checks that they have to conduct, and controls. So one of the main reasons banks are reluctant to accept crypto transactions and crypto-derived income in traditional bank accounts is this. What is this? Money laundering. The risk of money laundering associated with crypto assets and crypto crime if proper checks are not conducted or carried out properly. So currently the EU, why it doesn't change? I can't change it. Valentino? So currently the EU and Cyprus have a regulatory framework, the so-called AML5 for money laundering, which obliges providers of services relating to cryptocurrencies and crypto assets, the so-called crypto asset service providers, in abbreviation CASPs, to carry out AML checks and controls to their crypto asset clients and the relevant crypto asset transactions. Notably, the EU, for you to know, wants to further enhance this framework by introducing new, even stricter rules for the transfer of crypto assets, AML6, that it will be coming, AML6 package. New AML laws, even stricter AML laws. So to put in simple terms, a main legal challenge facing transactions made with cryptos, both, I mean, crypto to fiat, is the execution of robust and strict anti-money laundering checks and controls with effective KYC. What is KYC? Know your client, know your customer, but also KYT, know your transaction. So also transaction monitoring they have to do, and also follow and conduct the necessary checks and necessary monitoring for the travel rule, which is a new regulation that has been implemented. So in other words, providers offering services relating to crypto assets must ensure that they offer solutions. So that is why we're discussing XEROF here, that you must ensure that you use solutions that, first of all, ensure the identification an assessment of the client seeking to make crypto-related transactions, ensure the source and links of the crypto assets in question to avoid risky and opaque, I would say, connections, continuous monitoring of crypto transactions to flag, as per the AML, flag risky situations, and effective travel rule to discern the transferor and transferee of crypto transactions. So this is a travel rule. So it is the utmost importance that developers and real estate professionals who wish to exploit the opportunity of transacting with crypto owners use a solution. What kind of solution? One that ticks all the boxes. So they need to use one that ticks all the boxes. In this way, they can be sure that the crypto-derived income has undergone all the required checks and controls, first of all. And then, secondly, they are more likely to have the money derived from the crypto transaction placed in their traditional bank account. So that's it, in fact. So having in mind that there is currently a growing market for crypto owners who want to buy real estate and other luxury goods, items, having in mind that most developers are interested to receive the value of cryptocurrencies via traditional banking channels so that they can pay. We know why? Because they want to pay the people that work for them, like salaries, constructors, other real estate professionals. Having in mind that any services involving the exchange from cryptocurrencies paid by interested buyers to fiat money received by developers and other sellers of real estate can only be offered with strict compliance to AML rules and regulations currently in place at an EU level. Having in mind that compliance with AML rules and regulations is challenging for many providers, and having in mind that strict compliance with all applicable laws and regulations is effectively a prerequisite for the placement of fiat money with the traditional banking system. Having in mind all of this, we carried out deep research into the available solutions in the industry for the sale and purchase of real estate through cryptocurrencies paid by buyers converted to fiat money and received as such by real estate sellers. So our aim was to find a solution that would bridge the gap, a solution that would bridge the gap between people used to operating and doing business differently, the crypto owners who are used to transacting and want to pay in cryptos, and real estate sellers that operate in the traditional banking system. This gap would regrettably hinder the opportunity to take real estate into new areas, into new markets, and new investor bases with further reach and incredible prospects. So we had to find a solution. So considering the framework, this framework, we realized the need for law regulation and compliance experts to bridge the gap between crypto individuals and more traditional professionals. And after we did this research and our assessment, we found XEROF. So we found that XEROF is one of the best solutions that manages to tick the relevant boxes, as I said before, for an effective crypto to fiat exchange solution that is tailored to real estate sales and purchases. Hence, our collaboration with XEROF as the hybrid Lawtech firm comes into place at this exact point that we needed to bridge this gap and provide meaningful solutions to client and tangible results. So XEROF executes real estate transactions in crypto, settling directly to the developer sellers in their local bank account. To do so, they deploy, as Mark said, they deploy a secure and compliance-first solution. They are an authorized entity in Switzerland, as you know already, and rely on a nexus of valuable partnerships with other trusted providers in banking and finance. They implement a business model with real people behind the AML, KYC, KYT checks, combining the power of technology and the experience of their professionals to deliver effective and robust compliance results. So what XEROF does is often an AML and KYC solution to support the crypto to fiat exchange, especially for high net worth individuals. So in doing so, it enables the fiat money, as I have said several times, to be placed within the traditional banking system. So as I just said, most providers and solutions struggle with the demand of the developers to receive the purchase price in their bank account precisely because they fail to understand, so it is also about education, they fail to understand the legal and regulatory challenges and consequently fail to account for and guard against them. So absent a tested and functional solution like the one proposed by XEROF, the real estate market would not take advantage of the constantly increasing interest of crypto owners to buy property using their cryptocurrencies and the concurrent interest of developers and sellers to get the value in fiat money in their local bank accounts. So XEROF has precisely mastered a model that manages to exchange cryptocurrencies for fiat money and procure the transfer of fiat money to traditional bank account. So the second crypto opportunity in real estate that I referred to at the beginning is tokenization. So what is tokenization? Tokenization is the breaking down process of real life assets or interests in such assets, interest in such assets. Into tokens on blockchain, tokens built on blockchain. These blockchain-based tokens can therefore represent real life assets, like property, like real estate. They can represent shares in a company, bonds in a company. So you may issue like tokens, which are bonds with which you raise finance to develop property. So shares in company or participation rights in the profits of a company that owns the property. The idea behind breaking down assets into tokens is what? Why do we break down assets into tokens? Because in this way we achieve fractionalization, meaning creating tokens representing asset fractions. So to avoid a more theoretical discussion, let's dive in quickly, and I'm almost over. Let's dive into one real life example. Let's assume that the real estate developer has a plot of land. They want to develop into an apartment building. The cost of construction, let's say, is 1 million. Instead of reaching out to one investor who will purchase this apartment building, the developer wants to reach out to smaller investors like retail investors or more investors, as opposed to one investor, a single investor. So they want to do that through the internet via via a tokenization platform, which attracts these kind of investors. They know they exist. They attract them. They know they are tech savvy. They want to buy tokens. So thus, in this way, they give them the chance to onboard. They onboard them on the platform, and through the onboarding, then they buy these tokens. These smaller or more investors will get a piece of the land and the apartment building. Developers may purchase or hold the plot of land under a company established as, usually we call it a special purpose vehicle or a special purpose vehicle for others. So the company can then create tokens representing shares or the right to participate in the company profits and offer to investors like profits. They offer them to investors to raise the construction. They offer these tokens to the investors to raise the construction cost, which, as I said, 1 million, I said, for the sake of the example. In return, investors will receive the profits arising out of the management of the apartment building, the whole building, let's say, once constructed. How? Through the renting of the apartments in one way, let's say. So this example is only one of how developers can tokenize property. Alternatively, for example, they can create real estate funds to manage many properties, not just one. And they could tokenize what? The units in the funds. So many different tokenization models can be developed, involving, in fact, various different legal arrangements that could fit the wishes and plans of real estate developers and owners. Hence, let us know your plan. What is your plan? We may be able to assist you with your business plan. So I wanted to give you a simple example to demonstrate the benefits of real estate tokenization. So have we done it? Maybe you will ask, have we done it? Yes, we have. Already, yes, we have done it. Are we dealing with projects as this one I've described? Yes, we are dealing with a number of real estate tokenization involving various different legal arrangements, not only in Cyprus, but also abroad. And we have direct relationship with the regulators in other countries in order to do everything perfectly, legal-wise, business-wise, technical-wise, and everything. So what do we achieve? One may ask, what do we achieve with real estate tokenization? We achieve, as you see, as you understand, open access to large pool of investors with global reach. The platform is open everywhere in all the countries. Tech-savvy individuals, investors, they onboard the platform and they buy. Access to real estate ownership to retail investors. Until today, they didn't have the chance to buy. So such access is significant today, considering some younger but tech-savvy individuals cannot purchase whole properties. What else? What we achieved? We achieved to attract investors who are seeking to combine real estate and sustainability. Also, we achieved liquidity to a current illiquid market. Real estate market is characterized by illiquidity. So token buyers can, subject to requirements, sell their tokens on secondary exchanges, meaning investors have an exit point when they buy those tokens. Blockchain offers security, transparency, and automatic and fast execution. Transactions with tokens built on blockchain benefit from these features. And also we do get such flexibility in asset arrangements. So having said this, I'm happy to announce that the hybrid Lawtech firm Grant Thornton Blockchain Cyprus and the Zoltar Agency have formed the FuturEstate Alliance, specializing in real estate tokenization. We do believe in tokenization and its potential to facilitate flexibility in asset arrangements and provide for an inclusive and eco-sustainable real estate market development. And we aim at groundbreaking opportunities for real estate growth, promoting the digital transition of the property sector, and encouraging a more dynamic asset ownership for large pools of investors. Within this context, we are building the go-to platform, FuturEstate Alliance, built on blockchain and using smart contracts for asset tokenization of any type, no matter the complexity and particulars of each project. We create digital asset tokens representing ownership or, as I said, any other interests in property or portfolios of properties. And we're launching this platform officially within the following days. Navigating this area is a new and potentially complex, but made easy with the combined efforts and expertise of the hybrid Lawtech firm as leaders in law, business, and technology, Grant Thornton Blockchain with expert practice in business and technical development, and the Zoltar Agency for novel marketing needs emerging in crypto space. So we aim to be the single point of contact and services for the business, legal, regulatory, technical, and marketing needs of our clients. So we are currently in talks with XEROF for our collaboration regarding our tokenization platform as regards to high net worth individuals. We are confident that our real estate tokenization platform and services model as a unique proposition in the real estate market will benefit from such collaboration with XEROF, which has successfully built a truly unique, tested and effective solution for crypto to fiat purchases of real estate. So I'm done. A panel will follow. If you do have any questions, please just pose them to us. We would love to hear from you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Just a reminder, I just want to make a reminder.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Just to say that this is going to be an interactive session, so I will kindly ask also our online participants to use the Q&A Zoom in the Zoom to pose their questions, and we will be monitoring them from here.
Super, thank you. Aris, Kyriakos, would you mind joining us up here? And we'll see if you guys have got any hard questions for us.
We already have some questions.
Do we have some questions? I'm going to stand up, so please just to make some space for you guys. All right, thank you. So we'll just take a couple of questions from the audience on the internet first. On the internet, how old do I sound? On the interweb, on Zoom. So the first question I can see there is: XEROF is regulated in Switzerland, which is not part of the EU. How can they do transactions for real estates in the EU? It's really quite simple. So the solution that we provide can work pretty much anywhere as long as there is not a financial sanction action, either against the individual or the country that we're receiving the funds from. A property transaction, as you will all know, can take place between any parties and is not restricted mostly by geographical boundaries. So it doesn't matter that XEROF is regulated and licensed in Switzerland, we still service global clients. And to Evis, yes, you can ask questions by writing them in the chat, but be polite and don't use swear words because everybody's going to see them in the audience. So, a couple of questions just to kick these guys off. And I'm going to stand up here because I'm already short enough as it is. If I sit down, you'll just see a pair of glasses on the top of my head talking to you. So the first question I've got is to do with the appeal of Cyprus. Now, I've been to Cyprus quite a few times to work, to holiday. My wife is Greek and Spanish. So I say this with a good amount of humor. Why should anyone bother coming to Cyprus as a digital nomad? Just what's the appeal? I know you guys all know, but Kyriakos, I'm wondering if you could just give your perspectives on what the appeal is of Cyprus in particular to these relatively young digital nomads coming to be able to work from anywhere.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to be among you here today. And to be honest with you, during your speeches, I've actually learned quite a few stuff myself. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And now going to the stuff that I claim to know a bit better. So Cyprus has historically been one of the, let's say, most popular destinations for someone to move to, right? So there's a number of reasons for that. First of all, it offers a very high quality of standard compared to other destinations in the area. And that includes everything from the way that, from the lifestyle, from the way you can do business, from the way you can make money, but also stuff that these digital nomads suffer from while living elsewhere, like how far do I have to travel when I wake up in the morning and stuff like that. So, and also on top of that, it's our legal framework, which in the case of crypto as well, we are sometimes ahead of other countries of in our jurisdiction. I'm talking about the EU, and of course the tax regime. So you're coming into a country with a very favorable tax regime, especially when you come from abroad. So actually, it is the case that if you set up an entity here and you do business, you can actually benefit more than if you are a Cypriot doing business here, which is something very unique about Cyprus. But it is the case. And also, if you combine this with the robustness of the legal framework and also the fact that we are a European Union country with all the safety, security, and transparency that this brings, it's only a few of the reasons why I think people actually come. And then it's just what's the underlying factor, an investment. So we talk about crypto. And I always find it interesting that you have people that are used to very liquid assets, like crypto assets and trading in crypto. And then you have people that want to invest in real estate, which is a way more illiquid, let's say, asset class. But it's true that if you check statistics within the last few years, even in the difficult years of COVID, of inflation and all these things that happened in the past 5-10 years, returns, both in terms of rental yields, but also in terms of capital appreciation, exceeded expectations of investors, and therefore you're somewhere that you feel safe, you feel welcome. The taxation and the legal framework are clean and are very are those ones that invite you in, and also you make a good money. So to be honest with you, and myself living abroad for about a decade in the States and in London and ticking some of the boxes in that group, I would say that I actually came here being a COVID, let's say, repatriation child, and I actually never left, because comparing with what I was, the situation that I was used to in California or in London or even Singapore, I actually find love here.
Very cool. And
if I may
so,
add,
please go ahead.
Yeah. If I may also add that I do not think it's only the digital nomads that come to Cyprus and live. Cyprus in general, it is an attractive place to live and work, raise a family. We have excellent schools, and it was a recent study shows also that Cyprus is actually it has been ranked as the 5th safest country in the world. So I believe that.
Well, look, I'm already sold, like I told you. You know, I love coming here. Next time, maybe it won't just be for 8 hours. Could be for a bit longer. But the question that's really bugging me is, and Harris, maybe you can pick up on this if you don't mind, is, you know, from a legal or regulatory perspective, is Cyprus supportive of crypto nomads? You know, are there frameworks there that are clear and transparent, or are we as as a crypto person being persecuted everywhere around the world, including Cyprus?
Well, it probably comes in
just to get your brain moving there.
and unfortunately, when I feel that it's a bit hard to say, I don't call this. Okay, look, right.
If he poses any difficult questions to me, I will pass it on.
By the way, why don't you address this question to Christiana and you address it to me?
I wanted to bring you in.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a good question. Definitely. All right, from a legal point of view, definitely in Cyprus, we have a lot of things to present, to discuss with people that they are either digital nomads or they are simply you know, investors or people that they simply want to take advantage of everything like I was mentioned before, which is okay. I think that's the key selling point for our country, for the outside world. And there is no exception when it comes to digital nomads and in general, things having to do with innovation and technology. And always I'm talking from the legal perspective, right? Because definitely having the legal framework in place is one thing. Having the proper, let's say, educational culture to develop this framework or to promote it or to take advantage of it is something different, all right? At least this is my understanding. So yeah, going back to your question, I think yes, it is as a country we are very supportive to this. I think that the problems that remain when it comes to crypto are the same that exist all around the world, and I refer to banks and the financial sector in general. But definitely, when it comes to regulation, we have a very proactive regulator in Cyprus. I think that that takes us to the most favorable EU jurisdictions in terms of licensing of crypto as a service providers. There is, and I'm talking now from my experience, there is an interest even from banks to learn about this. And I think that this is the good first step, that when they start at least listening about this stuff and pass through this, you know, education, it means that they are expecting the change sooner or later. So those are indications that things are about to change. I'm not saying how much. It could be a little change, but it doesn't matter. We need to see step forward. Besides, we are still in the very first stages in this sector. But I'm sure we'll get back to this and discuss more things based on the questions that our audience will address later on, because you both did a very good presentations, and especially listening Christiana and the regulatory framework speaking about real estate tokenization. I think there are a lot of things to learn from this idea of business, I would say, because this is not just about crypto transactions, it's more about technology. And when it comes to technology, you will not find a single person out there, even the most conservative banker, that he will say that I don't want to hear about this. No, I mean, there are a lot of things to learn from tokenization, and definitely the example of real estate tokenization is something that it's a good starting point, let's say, to discuss about this. Plus, of course, whatever side technology is needed in order to have a holistic business model in place.
There's a lot to unpack in there. Before we do that, I just want to look at the audience in the room and see, yes, sir, you have a question. Go ahead.
Let me take the opportunity first to thank you for bringing all this information to us, serving it in a plate, spending the time to gather all the information together. I'm Konstantinos. By profession, I'm a lawyer for the last 24 years. I have in my credit thousands of real estate transactions of a volume of millions. Probably now it could be billion if I just add them up all together. So you explained to us a very interesting way of using the crypto to buy a property. If I may ask you, where, in which jurisdiction did you use this method? Did you use this in Cyprus? Because in Cyprus, it's only part of a transaction to have the crypto exchange into fiat, and then to have the fiat accepted by the banker, which, mark my words, irrespective of what you're doing, when the money will end up in the account of the developer or the seller, the vendor, whatever, the bank will take at least 15 days checking up the AML, the source of income, all this stuff again and again. So it's just a part of the game. It's a little bit, if I may say, premature for Cyprus, though we are very close. We are very near to that stage, using, crypto buying property and combining the whole thing, the whole process of transferring the title deed with the payment, with the actual payment to the seller. So, question to you, do you also offer services as an escrow agent? Because if you don't offer services as an escrow agent, probably your services will not be at the right time offered in Cyprus. We will not need you, because we do have people that they have cryptocurrency. It's up to them to exchange the cryptocurrency into fiat and then to go find the seller and do the transaction. So you're getting into the game now, and you say, I will be a part of the whole procedure. I offer these services. So to my understanding and from my knowledge and experience, one question is, do you offer the escrow agents services or not? Or if you don't, how do you guarantee the transfer of the title deed from the seller to the purchaser with the payment of the money at the right time to the seller? So it's one question. If I continue just to close my, it's very interesting what Christiana said about the tokenization. Actually, the tokenization, it is something that I'm processing now in my mind, because I know that holistically the whole procedure from A to Z to end up with a property, or to develop a property, or to offer something to the purchasers, and some smaller investors, if I may say, Actually, the tokenization is giving access to small investors in the game. So it's democratizing the whole industry. So it's going to bring a revolution. Definitely, it's going to be a revolution. But in order to be a revolution, we need to educate land registry department, tax department, the bankers to understand the whole thing. I mean, currently, they don't know, I mean, how to use this tokenization. But anyway, the tokenization is so important that maybe Christiana can give us a few more examples, even though I have tens of examples to give you now with the tokenization. Already, I have processed the whole information. So the question is, escrow agents, if you offer this, if you have done something in Cyprus, probably not, to be honest with you, but if you have done something in Cyprus, maybe you can share it with us.
Sure. Well, firstly, thank you for your questions. I'm super happy that you found the topic of tokenization so intriguing. This whole area, I've made my life since 2013. And since 2013, for every one person who has expressed interest, I must have had 100 who have said, you're a crook, you're an illegal, it's never going to happen, you're a dreamer, it'll be in 20 years. I heard exactly the same when I founded my first business straight out of university, when I was selling fax modems. These huge boxes, they weren't inside computers then. You bought them separately, you connected them to power, you connected them to the phone line, and then you connected them to a computer. And all my friends said to me, fax modems, why do I want to send faxes? I said, no, you don't understand. There's this thing called the internet coming, and it's going to allow data and information to be driven everywhere. That business was pretty successful, but I had to spend 5 or 7 years listening to everyone, including all the local telco companies who told me it was illegal to connect a fax modem to the phone connection in my own house, tell me that it was never going to take off. I would say, to your point, the time is now. This is not in the future. Cryptocurrency Bitcoin has been around for 13 years. It's approximately $1 trillion. We are live. We have traded properties or supported properties here in Cyprus. We support the purchase of properties using the same model I described to you virtually every day around the world, from a few 100,000 up to multiples of tens of millions of euros. So this is happening now. It's back to what I said earlier. What we do is not complex. It doesn't interfere with the existing model. All we're doing is we're taking one currency and exchanging it into another. And we're sending it to the place where it needs to go, when it needs to get there. Whether that is then taken in custody, escrow, by a notary, by a solicitor, that's the process that's already established, as you quite rightly said. We don't interfere with that. What we make sure happens is that the currency, in whichever currency it needs to be, is in the right account at the right time. That's it.
Do you also hedge the exchange rate? I mean, if someone is buying for 1 million euro,
Yeah.
is paying with a cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So the crypto is
So I'll talk to that process a little as well, and I'll let Christiana come in to talk about the tokenization piece. We have a question online as well, which is very similar to yours. So they ask about who provides the liquidity to XEROF while the transaction is being processed. Just very quickly, because this EVIS online sounds as though they're quite knowledgeable. We have a number of liquidity providers, or LPs. So that's both very wide and very deep. And because we are all very experienced in this space, we're connected to just about every liquidity provider that could be needed in any scenario. And this question that came in online is around the risk of the price and why the process takes 5 days when really it's just a basic SEPA transfer. So let me just correct this individual online. The whole process takes approximately 5 days from the moment of us identifying a client to KYC, running the Know Your Customer, running the anti-money laundering, running the checks on the coins that are going to be used as well, because in crypto, you have to check the history of the coins. In fiat, you don't put special ink on the notes to check whether there's any drugs on them. I think I should be forced to do that, by the way. But in the world of crypto, we have to check the history of the token. So we do all that. Then we do the exchange, and then we send the funds to where they need to go. And that whole process, onboarding, KYC, AML, exchange, and transfer, takes approximately 5 days. The actual transfer itself for EVIS takes, when we're doing, you're right, when we're doing a bank-to-bank transfer, it takes just a couple of minutes. So how do we hedge the price? It's really, really simple. We don't hedge the price at all. When someone says to us, yes, I'm going to buy this property for 22 million, you've got a copy of everything you need, including the contract of sale, so you can see why you're doing the exchange, you know where it needs to go. We go to the holder of crypto, we say, this is the price that we've got for you in the market at the moment. It's a spot price, completely transparent. If you want to go, you have a period of time where you give us instruction and we can hold that price and we go. We do the exchange during that period of time. And this is why people come to us, because again, we've been doing this since 2013. For us, this is just like normal. It's for most of you, it's just like when you walk up to the ATM and you take 50 euros out before you go for a drink with your friends on a Friday evening, or you just tap your card to pay. Doing things like this is just like that for us. It's just what we do. We know how to do it and how it works.
So when the money hits the account of the seller or anyone who is provided for in the contract, because XEROF actually transfers the money where the contract indicates XEROF to transfer the money. So whoever is the party, then that is where the money goes. So if it is a developer, it goes there. If it is a lawyer, it goes there. If it is the escrow, it goes there. And depending on the legal arrangement, on the legal relationship, we need to furnish a contract to XEROF. So XEROF then will follow that contract. XEROF will honor that contract. They will follow what the clauses of the contract say.
Yes, but unfortunately in Cyprus, you cannot simultaneously transfer the property and pay by crypto. But you can go to the land registry department, because unfortunately we're 50 years back.
You are correct.
And we have to attend the land registry department in person.
You are correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
and just pass the bank draft
Absolutely.
from the seller to the buyer. And at the same time, the officer of the land registry department to read the transaction to you, and you agree, yes, I sold my property and I'm paid.
So think of it this way. Wherever you take the banker's draft, wherever you draw the banker's draft on, that bank account, those funds could be charged using the exchange that we've made.
Okay,
We don't
that's why I said the escrow.
Yeah.
Because if you act as an escrow agent,
No, we don't.
but the seller will be much more comfortable to transfer the title deed and reply to the land registry officer at the question, have you get paid? Yes, I
Yeah.
Can I say something? I mean, okay, this is a prediction, I would say. This is why at some point lawyers that they do this on a regular basis, and it makes business sense for them to provide this crypto escrow service. They will all apply for CASP license, and they will all have CASP license in order to provide crypto escrow service.
And if we may go a further step, we follow the procedure of a blockchain transfer of the title deed within the blockchain.
Yes, but this is what is provided in the blockchain policy in Cyprus. It's delaying. Hopefully, it will not delay longer, but that's a hope.
I believe that what Konstantinos is touching upon is the adoption part. Because without the adoption of cryptocurrencies by the various entities, not only people in general, but also governmental entities, then we're not going to see much, I believe, happening. They have to adopt it. But in order to be able to adopt it, we need awareness and education. And on top of that, we need standards. And so that everybody.
And on top of that, we need digital policy. And on top of that, we need digital strategy.
And on top of that, we need user-friendly interfaces. You know, the technology is not as mature yet to give access to everybody. I mean, it's right now, it's only the people that are actually involved in cryptos. And if we look in what is happening with crypto adoption, Crypto.com, they say that around 300 million people all over the world, they own crypto. But by just owning crypto and keeping them somewhere in a wallet, it doesn't mean that we actually use them. So this is what we need first in order to be able to see this wide adoption and all these different transactions taking place. So we are now in the beginning. It's like we're laying the foundations for everybody else that will be following afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just going to move the conversation on because this gentleman up here is going to get a sore arm from having it up in the air. Go ahead, sir. I tell you what, have an arm wrestle for it. Whoever wins goes first.
My name is Amir, and firstly, thank you for the presentation. I'm really interested in the tokenization part.
Thank you.
As I really believe it has the potential to open up the real estate industry and even completely transform it. What I'm curious about is what are the main hurdles for this sector to gain adoption, and how does FuturEstate Alliance plan on?
What is the main hurdle to
what are the main hurdles to get to adoption?
Yes,
Before we do that, could we take the question at the same time from the gentleman in the red shirt at the back?
Thank you.
We'll take two together.
Actually, pink shirt.
Pink shirt. Excuse me. I got a red shirt. You're pink.
Okay. Sadia Shevin, also from the MSc in blockchain digital currency. My question is, you were talking about having an exchange, launching an exchange. What amount of volume would you expect from such an exchange for real estate tokens, and what sort of auction systems would you use to account for whatever level of volume you expect?
Super, thank you. So I think Christiana will pick that one up, I think, because that's more to do with the tokenization model, right, of real estate. Let's go to the question first that came from gentlemen. What are the frictions? What are the main frictions? I think.
Yeah, and in particular, I'm curious how FuturEstate Alliance, that was the name, correctly plans on.
Okay, to be honest, today this specific event is not about the FuturEstate Alliance, but anyway, since you put the question regarding tokenization, I will say, as I said, tokenization is only one of the opportunities offered by blockchain, by the crypto world. So tokenization hurdles, I will share with you what is the hurdle now. The hurdle is the following. We tokenize, we fractionalize, we tokenize whatever real estate or any other luxury asset, like we do currently with catamaran, that actually they go around the Aegean and they clean the Aegean. We tokenize them currently as we speak. And other like ships and luxury items, and real estate items, and high value tangible items, I would say. Well, I will share the hurdle with just one example. We tokenize one building, and then we get, let's say, 500 people, individuals, retail buyers, investors, and they buy the tokens. If the property is on a company, it means that what we do is we tokenize these shares or the bonds. In this case, we would need, as soon as the buyer purchases the shares, to do what? To make the necessary arrangements with the register of companies to transfer the shares into the new buyer, correct? Yes, because they need to change ownership. So if we do that, it will take us ages, as you know, because of the authorities. It takes time to do that. If this takes time to do that, what is the problem here? Soon we're going to have the DLT pilot regime. The DLT pilot regime is a regime in the EU that provides that. When I tokenize shares, I'm the developer and I tokenize shares and I give it out to buyers, to investors. these investors are allowed to list these security tokens. These are not cryptocurrencies in the meaning of payment tokens. These are security tokens. In this case, they are allowed until the end of the year. This regime will be here. The content of the law is ready. So we will see secondary markets. Okay, on the secondary markets, we will list these securities. It will happen so fast that these securities will be traded from one investor to the other, from one investor to the other. How is the registrar of companies be able to respond? Since the registrar of companies is not digital, it's not on blockchain, they cannot support the transfer of these shares from hands to hands to hands. So what we do now is that we structure other arrangements. So we structure other legal arrangements that are completely legal and very compliant. And we do that in a way that this is not really the time to share. There are so many different arrangements, like we use SPVs, special purpose vehicles, and then we use mother companies, we use nominees, we use trustees. So most of the times, what we do is like, we provide that the tokens hold all the rights and interests and duties that the shares have, but in one case, like this one scenario that I'm sharing with you, we do not provide for the transfer of the shares, but we have like another company holding the shares the whole time. So the company would be there holding the shares the whole time. For the time being, later, when we get to see these register of companies becoming digital and the shares change hands very quickly, and the shares would need to change hands so quickly in the register of companies as quickly they change hands in the secondary markets. Otherwise, we won't be able to do it. So this is the main hurdle I see in this case. This is the main hurdle I see. But regarding tokenization, have in mind that we can tokenize even part of the property. For example, one developer could say, I keep the half and I tokenize the other half. I keep the 75%, I tokenize the 25%. I tokenize the 10% in this way, the 30% in this way, the 40% in this way. So there are different legal arrangements to tokenize for the same property. So it depends. So what I want to be, what I want to assure you about, and I know people online listening, and maybe authorities are listening, and the government is listening, and I wish that they do listen right now, is that the regime is here. The regime is here. These are security tokens. So we do have, Harris, yes, we do have the...
They will probably arrest you for money laundering. Most of those people that you mentioned, right, when it comes to crypto, the only thing that they want to respond is that no, money laundering.
No money laundering here is not involved, and we can guarantee that. So each time anybody buys security tokens from any platform, when we onboard them, we do full KYC, full travel rule, everything we follow, so everything is compliant.
I think that Harris has raised a very good point, because recently one of my students, he was doing some work on tokenization actually, and we just finished a paper on identifying all the different advantages and disadvantages when on tokenization. And he had a questionnaire going around asking potential investors if they would invest in it. And the response that he got from many was that, what, are you doing some sort of a scam now? You know, are you a fraudster? So even when we were trying to do research, they considered it as if it was fraud.
If I may add, so talking from the real estate aspect only now. So real estate is a business of concrete, right? And as concrete, once it sets into an idea, it moves difficult. There's a little difficulty involved in moving it. And it doesn't change shapes very often, right? And it's difficult to do so. However, what we all agree is that what makes the world go round is money, right? So from my perspective, we live in an environment, at least in Cyprus, where most of the properties are sold off plan, okay? Namely because of high demand, namely because there is shortage of labor or construction materials. The reality is that most of the things are sold off plan. So the reason I'm saying it is because it's one thing to facilitate the transaction, it's another thing, as you very well asked, to bring the money in Cyprus. And unfortunately, we are in an industry that the money needs to come to Cyprus because you need to actually physically build something, right? Now, even us, the dinosaurs, as you said earlier, the concrete guys, the ones that move slowly, realize that at least all the transactions that I've been part of, don't comment on it. What I realized with the limited knowledge that I had before coming back is that, in fact, as Christiana said, actually doing KYC on crypto-related transaction is way more robust and way more thorough than anything else. Why? Because of marketing. Because people have made us believe that if I own Apple shares and I have 1 million worth of Apple shares and I sell them, that's enough. Why is it any different if I have 1 million worth of Bitcoin or Ethereum? Why is it any different? Wouldn't I still need to go one step back and ask, how do you get it? And where does that end? So I think problem one is to actually educate the banking system, which fortunately, unfortunately, is still the foundation of economy in countries like Cyprus, about it. And the fact that actually it could be more robust and more clean for them to do it effectively on the crypto world rather than in the fiat world. And it's actually not that difficult to do so. And if you don't want to educate yourself, and I'm a CEO sitting in my chair and realize there's a huge market to take, like, hire people that they do know how to do it. And that, you pay a bit more, but it actually brings you a lot of money. So that's number one. Number two, you talked about tokenization, and I very well agree with you that the reason that this is a technology, otherwise it's just speculation, right? Otherwise, if everybody wants to invest in Bitcoin, it goes up, and if everybody doesn't, it goes down, right? But what we're missing here is that it all started from Bitcoin, but what made it a huge success is the technology. So it allows you to create stuff like smart contracts, right? And it allows you to create stuff like everything is clean, transparent, and you can follow everything in speeds that it's not so typical of human beings, right? So my background comes from high frequency trading, and I'm used to trade hundreds of thousands of contracts a day, not something that is possible with an average human brain, not even with mine. And so is this technology that, unfortunately, because the marketing around crypto world is still bad, that people have convinced us that, oh, crypto, money laundering. Well, in fact, if you actually know how to do it, it's way more transparent than normal fiat transactions. And so, in my humble opinion, number one problem is the banking system. And I don't think it's because they don't get it. It's because ever since 1960s, there's a huge effort moving money from manufacturing, moving money to money. You want to make money, you have to be in money. And you're trying to convince this system that has been a very centralized idea that decentralized exchanges is the future. It's not that they don't know it. I think it's just that they're afraid of it. And that's my humble opinion.
I'm just going to see, yes, I'm just going to see if there's a sweep of questions in the audience, just for a little pause to give you guys a chance. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Anthony. I have a company that developed the platform for tokenization in the United States. It's a really interesting market, good experience, and it's clear how to do this from the regulated perspective. But European market is rather interesting for this perspective, and I would like to know if there is any regulation sandbox where can we bring together with the other entrepreneurs and developers and regulation authorities to find their solution, because we have a good experience from the United States market and from Middle East market as well. And if there's any opportunities to collaborate, maybe future state alliance for this purpose. So how this working in here?
If I,
Sure.
yeah, if I may actually just to say regarding the sandbox, we are currently working on creating an EU sandbox. In collaboration with a couple with some other companies in Europe and some other experts in creating this EU sandbox. And actually, there is a call for use cases. We can talk about it afterwards and give you the links, the relevant links to look into.
Cyprus,
For Cyprus, I'm not aware. This is for the EU in general.
Well, there is an initiative taken from the Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commission, right, to set up a sandbox. Actually, they ran a preliminary discussion with various stakeholders, and then in order to, I don't know, they issued the tender as well. But I think that there is no progress yet. I mean, we don't have anything established. It is still in the process.
But the tender closed on the 15th of February.
Yeah.
So hopefully it was good that you came along today so that I can connect you with the people that be. And if you want to, I spent 2.5 years working with all the guys in the European Commission, European Parliament, which is why I look so goddamn old. I can connect you with anyone that you want to, but be aware they move slow, real slow. There was a question
to move fast.
yeah, well, and that's where the challenge will come, actually, back to the regulatory piece. And it's back to this conversation with this gentleman here at the front. The industry is ready to go. We're doing transactions now. This isn't a discussion about the future. It's not a discussion about Monday. It's not even a discussion about this evening. I keep glancing down at my phone because we have a transaction that's closing right now for a lot of money. People are doing this. So either I told a story inside of the European Parliament. Do you know how to kill a frog? So you take a frog, you put it in a pot of cold water, put it on a stove, and you turn the gas on. The frog will sit there until it boils to death because it doesn't realize that its environment is changing. So my message to you guys is don't be frogs. The world is changing. Don't sit in the water. Don't get boiled to death. Don't die. Move now. There was a question over there.
Yes, hello. I'd like to thank you for putting forth very interesting points, not just for the presentation's sake, but regulatory framework points, either abroad but domestically as well. I'd like to point out that there is emerging markets that are happening right now, just in terms of sustainability. There are energy projects. One example is Energy Shift EU. It's a project where it's fully tokenized, where everyday people can purchase their tokens. This company can buy land, install renewable energy, solar panels and windmills, they generate this power, they sell it, and they return dividends. These emerging markets that are happening right now will require the real estate tokenization as well, because you will need to catch up. Would you say that, this is my question, would you say that you would be able to provide services like this for these companies, emerging companies, that give us renewable resources, for countries, all this stuff, as a means of buying land, provide this services?
Is your question more generally about the technology being able to do it?
No, I'd say would you as these companies when they obtain land in different countries, whether that's in Europe, etc., for such specific projects.
So we could have a conversation because it's not the focus of our business for today, which is purely around the exchange to support real estate transactions. But that could be something that we look at from the advisory side of our business, where we work with lots of institutions around the world to help them understand exactly the tokenomics models, the technologies, because that is what we do. I've oversimplified our business because I wanted you all to understand that we exchange crypto to fiat to support a contract. But in essence, we're all tech guys. We've spent 12, 15 years funding projects like this, earning money from projects like this. And again, this is all happening now. Renewable energy credits being traded in reality to try and achieve sovereign independence of energy, particularly important given what's going on. It's happening. This is not in a week, in a month, or when the EU decides to put the framework in. It's now. Okay, not on a huge scale, but it's real. Other questions? Come on, ask us something difficult, guys. What about all the scams? Do you want to hear whether we're all scammers? What will we do about the market? Why are people doing all these bad things? No? You don't care? So,
can you explain in easy words what are the main advantages of using the blockchain for real estate? So just simple short words.
real estate in which context?
Like use a simple transaction, like doing all the stuff on the blockchain.
So doing all the stuff.
The main advantage of using the blockchain technology for this real estate.
So think of blockchain technology as an efficiency tool, and
High efficiency?
because you could execute, you could program certain actions to take part at certain times and if certain conditions are met without humans needing to intervene. Well, to a certain extent you don't, but by at the same time also having trust that the process is going to work, can't be interfered with or overridden by other people.
Where does this trust come from?
So you said simple terms. I mean, we could go into we could.
Closed system. So you either Oracle to get data on it, or you need trust in you.
So there are many. Yeah, you're right. Actually,
Centralized system.
No, there are many different types of blockchains. Some are centralized, some are not. The centralized ones tend to be under the control of an identifiable group of companies or individuals who make the decisions at a consensus level about how the project will move, what the key parameters for that particular blockchain will be, what technology it might use, what service it sits on, where the servers will be based, for example. And then there's open blockchains like Bitcoin, where nobody controls that. It's open to anyone to join. Anyone can take part in it. Anyone can submit code to be peer reviewed, and anyone can try and make suggestions. There is no central controlling body. So within those two outer limits, closed and completely open blockchain, the conversation is a bit more complicated because there are different values for different types of blockchains. And what problem you're trying to solve is a slightly different discussion. But the question of trust is a really interesting one, because I have a fundamental problem with part of our industry, part of my industry, when they say you trust the code. This is the line I get back from people when they say, why can I trust this? Why can I trust this? Because you trust the code. It means you don't have to trust humans. But the last time.
No, but the problem is the blockchain is a closed system. So you need for any type of tokenization, you can take the blockchain onto the chain.
Bitcoin is not, as an example, the world's largest blockchain. Bitcoin is not a closed system. It's entirely open.
I mean, if you want to get external data, like the USD price, whatever, stock market, the house, whatever, any kind of data which is not stored on the blockchain. When you need to get it on it, you need some kind of oracle, like chaining, for example, something like that.
Yes.
Or you need a trusted party, which is kind of what you do.
To a certain extent.
Which brings me back to my original question. If I need a trusted party, if I need centralization, everything, where is the advantage of using the blockchain for these transactions?
I think your question is very broad. I think I understand the almost philosophical point that you want to make, and I think I'm in agreement with you actually. But
the point as well. I mean, the blockchain is the most inefficient data structure we ever had.
And
do you know
Because the other advantages of decentralization.
do you know polychain? Are you familiar with polychain?
A little bit.
Yeah. So I fundamentally question your comment there. If you look at it through the lens of polychain, because it has the highest transaction throughput, has the least consumption of energy.
Compared to other blockchains, but if you compare to a centralized database where it needs the same level of trust, every blockchain, because you have to write some hashes, you have to do signatures, it's the most inefficient data structure.
I don't think I agree with you.
Centralization of the blockchain. But if I have to trust you.
Yeah, so look, because I think we're going to disagree, and maybe we're going to bore most of the audience here trying to get to the bottom of firstly the question and then secondly the discussion. But I'll offer you something in a conciliatory tone, which is I kind of agree with you from one point, because trust the code only works if you can identify how the code has been written. Because code just doesn't come up from the ground. It's created by humans.
Just the readers of code, I guess. Nobody.
Yeah. So, I think we have a point of agreement there, but on your point about efficiency and security and comparison to existing systems like C++, which supports most of the banking systems around the world today, I think there's an enormous efficiency gain. And you don't have to bring people out of retirement and pay them $1.5 million, $1.2 million a month because there are only 20 coders left in the world. So I think there are lots of efficiencies there, and I'd like to continue the discussion with you, but maybe not at the cost of everyone else's attention.
Okay.
So.
So yeah, Dimitris, and we had a chance to go and talk about stuff here in the discussion. Congratulations firstly for the discussion about the organization and the XEROF. So my question is mostly focused on the source of funds. I would like to ask, how do you guarantee that the source of funds for that specific owner that owns, let's say, the Bitcoins are safe? If you do that, do you take the responsibility of having that, let's say, guarantee when the process will continuously until the moment, let's say, for example, that they will be able to have access to the transaction?
So if I understand your question correctly, you're asking how far back do we go on the source of funds?
Of course, and based on that, you have any, probably will have a specific methodology where you will, let's say, create that this specific wallet, for example, let's say, you take the responsibility. How do you guarantee basically that specific wallet is safe? And if you do that, do you have any specific tools for doing that?
So we do have specific tools. We use a number of industry-leading tools, and we spoke earlier about how I was part of the team that built one of those, what is now industry-leading analytics tools. How far back do we go? That depends. It depends on the initial information we get. If it's relatively clean, it can be 5 to 7 transactions. If we have suspicions, then we might go back even further and look for signs of mixers, tumblers, and things such as that. To your point about source of funds, yes, we do regular source of funds check, which is more crypto friendly than you might imagine, because many people that come to us have got a very large holding in crypto, high net worth, ultra high net worths, and they're very private. They don't want to reveal too much information. So we've developed techniques, systems, processes, and partnerships that allow us to get the right level of information without being too intrusive on privacy, but that will support the transaction to demonstrate that A, it's legal, B, it's compliant, and C, most importantly, it will happen when we send it to our bank to send to another bank, and the banks don't put red flags up. I think we might be just about nearing the end of time. So what I'm going to ask each of the panelists to do for you is to, in 3 words, and I'm talking very slowly to give them a little bit of time to think, in 3 words, summarize what they believe are the most important points for this industry, if the industry is real estate and crypto, to be able to reach mainstream adoption. And Sula, I'm going to take the wind out of your sails because your 3 words can't be education, education, education. Harris, let's start with you, as I've just taken Sula's answer off that.
4 words. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Know your crypto client, KYCC,
Nice, like that.
all right? Because when it comes to a mainstream adoption, as you mentioned, all right? Apparently, the more technology we have in order to monitor source of funds and be able to trace, the crypto transactions, it means that in the end of the day, maybe people like financial institutions, regulators will feel more comfortable to propose, this business and accept it. And this is not something that has to do only with regulated businesses. And I will give you a very simple example to explain why I believe this is very important. You know that a major fear, I would say, for people for businesses, all right, lawyers, accountants, businesses that they want to transact in crypto, is to make sure that they will not have their wallet becoming dirty in the end of the day. All right, so although there are not rules at the moment, there are not regulations forcing the companies to run crypto wallet checks. I think that as a precautionary measure, they will soon find it useful to use these tools in order to be able to run a check before they accept any such crypto, and give them the comfort that what is your problem now, it will not become my problem in the end of the day. And you know what happened with after Tornado Cash and other cases where just out of revenge, they simply sent a very small amount to hundreds of thousands of wallets just to make them dirty because they sanctioned Tornado Cash.
Dust infection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Harris. That was more than 4 words.
Yeah.
Kyriakos.
No, I started with 4 words, but I didn't say that as a note.
Okay, like a true lawyer. Disclaimer, huh? Thank you. Kyriakos.
Mine are, don't be afraid, actually. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to educate yourself. Sometimes you find things that you like or you don't like. Parts of the technology are more transparent than others. I can tell you from as someone with coding experience, but sometimes you need more transparency and sometimes you don't. That's why you have atriums or you have closed doors. So it's just the way of you use the technology if you understand it well enough. But if you don't care to understand it well enough, yes, you do need to trust somebody that does. But don't be afraid to learn something new. The internet used to be something new. Fax machines used to be something new. Part of that technology stayed, and part of that we throw it out of the window because we don't need it anymore. But that's my gist.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
agree with Harris and Kyriakos, and I would add to Harris KYCC, he said, okay, KYCT as well.
Yeah.
So it's know your crypto client, know your crypto transaction.
Yeah.
And then education, of course, I do agree because anyways, I'm an approved trainer and I train people on this regulation, tech regulation, but also boldness, because otherwise we're not going to do anything. I mean, you have to dare.
Yeah, I agree. And finally, but by no means least, our wonderful host, Sula.
Well, I'm not going to mention education again because this is a must: education and awareness, standards, technology maturity, user-friendly interfaces.
That I agree with.
Yeah.
How many of you have tried to use MetaMask or have a MetaMask wallet? How many of you love it? Okay. I find it super hard. I think until we make ourselves more accessible, we're going to struggle with mass adoption. Guys, thank you for your attention. Firstly, thank you for coming out. Please give a round of applause to these guys. I believe there are going to be a few drinks
Yeah.
at the back.
Yeah, please join us for some drinks outside.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
guys.